Hey y'all, so this month's theme I went with apple blossoms. The flowers are super easy to draw and I wanted to get more practice with watercoloring. I normally use Tombows for watercolor and I recently had a revelation. I love using Copics, and one thing about them is that you really have to lay the color down to get a good view of whatever it is you're coloring. And I've been thinking maybe that's what I need to do with my Tombows. So that's what I'm focusing on, and I'm also going to use my blender pen. That's something that I really haven't done before, so I want to try doing that. That being said, here are all the supplies that I used for this video. I'll link anything that you might want to use in the description below, and let's go ahead and get started. So I have already drawn out what I'm going to do, and I put some pages in here to remind myself. So right now I'm going to do my month page. I wanted to go ahead and get like an apple blossom in there some kind of way. I haven't drawn apple blossoms before, so I had to figure it out for this video and for this layout. But like I said, it was really simple, at least from what it looked like. It just seemed to be like some curved petals and some some very zigzaggy leaves. So simple enough. And then the color scheme, simple enough. Just throw some pinks, maybe some reds in there, and you'll be fine. So the technique that I wanted to focus on was actually just using more of my blender pen. I think something that I probably should have done that I found out now was, instead of drawing this in and outlining it in black with my micron, was I probably should have just colored it first and then outlined everything, because some of that black did get in there. Now I thought that with archival ink that it wasn't supposed to run, but also, the other problem could have been that I didn't give it enough time to dry, which you never really think about, the fact that it could take a long time to dry, because you just put the ink down and let it do what it does. But yeah, in this case, that was my problem. Some of that black ink got into my drawing and it smudged it. It didn't make it as pretty as I thought it would be, but either way. And see right there, you can see me coloring with the dark green and the lighter green and blending those colors in together. Now, you don't necessarily have to have the blender pen to do this. You can blend in all the other colors with all the other colors, but I would suggest that you try to keep your greens with your greens, yellows with your yellows, oranges with your oranges, stuff like that, because you don't want to mess up any of the ink. But even if you do, Tombows are self-cleaning. Just get on a different piece of paper and color until the ink fades. The only thing that'll happen is it'll stain the nib, and for real, who really cares? It's the nib. I think when I first bought all these Tombows, it was like, oh no, you can't mess them up. But now that I have like the whole collection, I'm just like, I'm gonna use these. You need to use them. Why just have them sitting looking pretty? They're art tools. They're supposed to get dirty. Now I will say this random leaf was not supposed to just be floating there, but I don't know, I was thinking maybe it was just capturing a moment in time where the leaf fell, and then I never really finished the tree and the vision that I had for the leaf. It was kind of weird, but either way. And we're going over to my quote: "To blossom is not the end, you must come to fruition." Something that I think about a lot is that a lot of times we don't follow through. And I say we, but it's me. But sometimes I'll have the idea and I'll start and I'll get a little bit of traction going, and then I never really finish it. So that's the fruition part. You can't just stop halfway of blossoming. You got to turn into the apple. So here I am. Like I said, I learned my lesson. I had my drawing penciled in, and then I come back with my microns. So right here I tried to do like a curved leaf. Another thing is, I am not an artist, or at least not a good one. So I can, I've always thought myself I'd be really great with coloring things, but not necessarily drawing things. It was never really my passion. So where does that leave you in the art world? Out back. So, and this was a good example of just using my blender pen. So I used the red, I colored in on the sides, and then I used the blender pen to drag the color into the middle so it could kind of look like it had a little bright shine to it. And now I'm going to draw another apple blossom. So from the blossom to the apple. Okay, now that I have everything colored in, I have traced it, and I'm going to color in those seeds and put a little like white stuff, or white shine on them, on the apple and on the seeds, so that you can lose their seeds. I thought that if I kind of left those plain, you wouldn't even know what they were. And oh yeah, I forgot to put my mini calendar in, so here's my mini calendar on my title page. Now it's time to draw the big calendar. So this is the month of September. My weeks start on Sundays. So the first day of the month for me was Sunday the 1st. And I always enjoy those months when it goes like that, because it seems like mathematically everything goes the way it's supposed to. Weird thing to think about, I know. I'm using a thicker pen for the outline and a thinner pen for the actual days. And I'm just going to make sure that everything lines up and is even. This calendar layout has worked for me from the beginning of me bullet journaling, so this is the one layout that very rarely changes for me. Like I might try and do something different in another month if I have more time, but this one just really works out for me. And you know, what can I really say? Now, if you've been here for a long time and you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. It helps me reach more people, and it helps get the news out about my channel. So I really appreciate that kind of support. And if you see that, like that little ghosting on the back, that came from all the color I laid down with my Tombow. So that's going to be something that I have to look out for in the future. Is definitely something that it's not one of my favorite things, the ghosting on the back of the page, especially if you're using the back of the page. Now I will say that when I color with my Copics, you definitely expect it. Those are alcohol markers. So as I'm learning this medium of watercolor markers, water-based markers, that's just something I gotta get used to as well. So if it goes on the back, then it goes on the back. I'll just have to make sure that I'm not using the back, or I do something different with the back, which could just lead to more creativity, you know. And right about here is where I lost some of my footage. You know, my craft area is in the middle of the house, so people walk past me all the time. I don't really get, it's never just quiet. So I think what happened was one of the kids started talking to me, then all the kids started talking to me, my husband started talking to me, and then the phone probably rang, and I'm still trying to color and do everything that is that I'm doing, and I just probably paused the video and didn't turn it back on until I got to the end of that. The good thing is I really like the way that flower came out, so I'm gonna redo it on this page, and then that way y'all get to see how I did it too. So, and I learned a little bit, so I colored the edges. I'm gonna come in a little bit with red. Something that I've noticed with apple blossoms is that their color isn't very even all the time. A lot of times the flowers are just like splotchy, but it's natural, so it looks really pretty because it's nature doing its thing. That is the prototype. So I'm trying to capture that. I mean, it's perfect for someone like me because like my stuff isn't always even. And here I am, like there's literally nothing else. It's just the blender pen blending in these different colors. And I'm going to take my micron. something that I tried to capture with these flowers also is that the edges seem to always be curling up. Now that just could be my observation, but it just seems like the edges don't fan out like normal flower petals. They curl up, but that kind of makes sense because like they're growing fruit. Those was the petals wind up becoming the little teeny tiny parts on the bottom of the apple. So, you know, when you look at those, they're kind of curled up too. And here I am just drawing different petals along the side. Blending in those colors with a little dab in the middle. And then a bunch of smaller petals kind of like in the background. You know, perspective isn't really my thing either, but we're trying. We're going for depth of field. Now this page winds up becoming my dinner ideas page. Like, I try to plan my dinners, but like it doesn't always happen. And because this page is really plain and sometimes you just having a little bit of help, I'm going to take the lightest gray that I have, which is like N89 I think, and I'm going to make lines so that I can, you know, help differentiate dinner for each day. So one line, one dinner. And then what I really like about this is that the next page is always the plate page, and this is everything on my mental plate, not my actual plate. So looking at both of them, it says dinner plate, and I was like, oh, that works. Now with this one, I wanted it to be like a Macintosh apple. I think those are the red ones, or just whatever red apple. And every time I've had a red apple, it seems like the red pigmentation from the apple kind of gets onto the skin a little bit. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that but me, but I figured coloring it in like that kind of represented that. You know, if I was a better color artist, then maybe it would look more intentional, but that's what I was going for. And then we're going to go into my first weekly layout. So this one is going to be very minimal. I'm just going to take my brown, make a bunch of dots, and outline each day. I'm going to try to be more mindful to write something in these every day. Generally, like, I'll put whatever tasking I have to do. Like, if there's something that I want to get out of the way, that's where I'll put it. But I want to put more observations in there. That way, you know, if something happened that day, I can go back in time and look at it like, you know, Frankie Beverly dying, or James Earl Jones dying, and then hearing everything about James Earl Jones. You know, his life, his past, his history, all that kind of stuff. Just never knew that much about James Earl Jones. For real, I thought, you know, I didn't know he had, you know, died. I thought he had already died. It'd been such a long time since I'd heard anything about him, but either way, you know, I just want to capture those kind of events. Normally I get rid of all my books like a year after I had them anyway, so I don't really get a chance to review them. So who's to say? Maybe I'll keep them a little bit longer. Probably won't, because I don't like them sitting around. And I'm just going to fill in the days. And now that we're done with the weekly spread, let's go ahead and just do the final flip through. So this is what everything wound up looking like. So September, and then we have my quote page, and then here's a little flower, and the rest of my calendar page. I don't know why I chose that font for September, but it worked. Now we're going to go to my dinner and plate page, where I just plan out my dinner and anything that just happens to be on my mind. And that's about it. So thank you. Please like and subscribe and share. I will see you next month. I should have a new video coming up very soon for you. Alright, y'all. Bye.